All right, we're wired for sound.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Steve Vale, I'm sitting in for Laura Bauer, who couldn't make it here today. I'd like to welcome everybody to the meeting. It's the December 15th meeting of the Capital District Youth Center Incorporated Board. I'd like to call the roll. As I said, I'm Steve Vale, Saratoga County.
So we have Bill Connors participating remotely, Lucy McKnight, who's on the phone, Kristen Swinton, who's also called into the meeting, Steve Bale, Craig Warner's here from Saratoga County, Barbara Morrow, and Samantha Miller Herrera. Guests in the meeting today, Maura Manning from Albany County, Bob Ryan, Luke Jacobs from Berkshire Farm, and any other guests? Oh, and Alan Walther from Bonadeo, presenting our audit today. Okay, we've established that there's a quorum. I'd like to move on to item number 2, which is the meeting minutes from October. There's just one change to the minutes that we were notified of related to Barbara Morrow. Barbara Morrow was in fact present.
Okay. Can I have a motion to accept the minutes with that change that Mark just mentioned?
I'll make a motion.
Samantha?
Second?
Craig makes second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Next, move on to item number 3. This is the financial statements through November 30th.
Yes, financial statements through November 30th. I'd like to thank Berkshire for getting me the monthly financials now. They've had some changeover in their accounting unit, but now I'm getting regular financial accounting every month, which is helpful. So through the month of October, or through the estimated amount through November is about $1.5 million for SD, and that's tracking at 83% of budget on the expense side. Through November 30th, we're looking at $2.1 million on the SSD side. We're tracking 71% of budget on that side. The quarter 3 costs have yet to be sent to, well, we yet to receive a rate for quarter 3. So we haven't booked those revenues yet, which is why we're so far upside down in our revenues. That's a typical process with our new quarterly reimbursement, is that as we go through the year, we don't book the revenue until we actually can send the bills. So we'll recoup most of the revenue. That's just why we're behind. One other anomaly I wanted to point out, not really an anomaly, but on the balance sheet, if you look at about halfway down the page, other current assets, and then you look a little bit below that and you see raise the age asset purchase clearing account. So the prepaid number is an amount of money that we transferred to the dormitory authority for the bedroom project, and then the associated expenses are that negative $175,000. So we just have to clean that up, which hasn't been done yet. So once we clean that up, our balance sheets will be more squared away with those projects being completed last year. Any questions?
Hearing no questions, can I have a motion to accept the financial statements through November 30th?
So moved.
Barbara? Second?
Second.
Bill? Bill looked like he raised his hand first. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item number 4, accepting the 2020 audit.
Yes, 2020 was a interesting year for CDYCI. We basically changed the way we were keeping and tracking our expenses. It was the first year that the new intermunicipal agreement was in place. It was the first year that we moved to completely quarterly reimbursements. And so that impacted our financial tracking, and our accountant, Tom, did a great job of cleaning up some loose ends that were left over from our prior accountant. And I think the 2021 audit will be a lot lot easier than the 2020 audit was. But we got through it, and we have Alan Walther here from Bonadeo to walk the board through the findings of the audit. Alan.
Thanks, Mark. I am going to share my screen. I do believe that everyone was sent copies of the reports. I did a brief PowerPoint presentation. I think it's easier to just do it this way rather than try to flip back and forth between pages. So let me just bear with me a second. Let me share my screen. Okay, thank you very much. Just to introduce myself, I think I've met everyone either virtually or in person over the years, but my name is Alan Walther. I'm a partner with the Bonadeo Group. As Mark said, we've completed the audit of CDYCI for the year ended December 31st, 2020. As Mark explained also, typically we're not presenting the audit results in December. Right, I think the usual presentation date is in June. Hopefully, for the 21 audit, we will get back to a more timely audit schedule. But as Mark said as well, Tom did a nice job with getting the books and records in auditable condition. We do work and reconcile the numbers with Berkshire Farms to make sure that what is presented is an accurate portrayal of CDYCI. So thank you to Tom, thank you to Mark, thank you to Amy for all your efforts. So that a brief summary, we issued an unmodified opinion on your financial statements. An unmodified opinion is the highest level of assurance that we can give on your financial statements. That is the opinion that all of the users of the financial statements will be looking for. We did not identify any material weaknesses in internal controls. We did not identify any compliance findings. And again, a big thank you to everybody at CDYCI for your assistance during the audit. It was, I think we came out for one day, but predominantly we did the remote audit, which involves a lot of uploading documentation to our portal. And it's a pretty heavy lift, especially on your side. So again, we do appreciate all of your assistance during the audit. Required communications, no new accounting policies. So from a formal accounting policy standpoint, uneventful year for 2020, no transactions for which there was a lack of authoritative guidance, and all estimates were evaluated and considered to be reasonable. No significant difficulties in performing the audit. No material adjustments were required. No disagreements with management. We were unaware that management consulted with other accountants, and our discussions with management are in the normal course of our professional relationship. So some of the financial highlights, your statement of net position, which is on page 6 of the report. If you have it, your net position at December 31st was $141.6 thousand. Your total assets at the end of the year were $2.82 million, of which $429,000 was cash, $2.4 million was due from other governments. Your total liabilities were $2.74 million, of which accounts payable was $2.28 million, and due to counties were $459,000. Your statement of revenue and expenses, your secure detention revenue for the year was $1.92 million. Your specialized secure detention was $2.19 million. Your total expenses were $4.11 million. Occupancy, secure detention was $1.64. Specialized secure detention was $1.87 million. The Berkshire Farm administrative fee was $455,000. CDRPC admin fee, excuse me, was $102,000, and your decrease in net position was approximately $1,500. As you're aware, CDYCI is basically managed to perform at a break-even level, which is where you were at. Your statement of cash flow, which is on page 8, your cash decreased during the year by $968,000. Operations used $950,000, and capital used $18,000. The decrease in cash is primarily just a result of timing of the way the transactions went. As you can see, the operations were break even. Your cash is down a bit. And that is the extent of my comments, unless there's any questions from the board members.
Well, thanks, Alan, and I'd like to thank again Amy and Tom for helping out with the audit, and your team over there, Alan. It's good working with you this year.
Thank you. Thank you very much again for all your assistance. And I hope everyone stays well, and happy holidays.
Thank you, Alan.
Thank you. Take care.
Here are no questions for Alan. I have a motion to accept the 2020 audit.
So moved.
See, in the second,
Second.
Greg, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Move on to item number 5, which is the 2022 meeting schedule.
Right, we're sticking with 9 a.m. on the third Wednesday of January, March, May, July, October, and December.
Motion to accept the schedule for 2022. Second, Greg, second. Any discussion on that? All in favor?
Second.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes. And next is the item number 6, 2022 budget.
Sure. If you remember at our last meeting in October, we revised the 2021 budget to capture a lot of the additional costs for staff and other things that happen as a result of the union negotiation, and reflecting a full staff out to the standard that has been suggested by OCFS for staffing levels. And this budget again reflects that. So the overall budget based on the most recent adopted 2021 budget only increases 0.8%. On the SD side, Berkshire submitted a budget that proposes a 2.7% increase to the 2021 budget. The SSD budget also still includes that $284,000, which represents a portion of the design costs. We're still in the process of getting the design costs approved. I'll talk about that a little bit later. But suffice it to say, this budget as presented is very close to the final 2021 budget that we produced. And Luke, do you want to say a few things about the outlook for the budget and staffing for 2022?
Well, in 2022, we're working closely with OCFS and SCOC on our staffing levels. And so we're making sure that we're adjusting those to meet the minimum standards that we need to meet. OCFS is proposing increased staffing as they're seeing in other facilities, higher incidence, not in ours, but in other facilities. And so we are working closely on that, and they have a metric so that we can make sure that we are staffing fully. We're also utilizing the funds that we received from OCFS for additional programming, and much of that will be utilized in 2022. Some of that we have already spent. We brought on a new assistant director of security, which is going to be a huge help at the facility, but we have a lot of programming for the youth that is going to be running throughout the year and training for staff to assist them with working with youth that we are going to be putting on throughout 2022. Including a garden program, a trauma workshop, and some mindfulness work with kids. We're working on a couple other projects, for instance, bringing tablets into the facility for education, and also some entertainment things. They're using multiple other facilities in the state and with great results. And so we're looking at bringing those in, and OCFS is going to partner with us on that. So we're seeing some exciting things coming in 2022. 2022 for our budget.
Great. Thanks, Luke. And a lot of those programs that Luke mentioned, specifically geared towards the raise the age population, are 100% reimbursable to the counties.
Yes.
Okay, motion to approve the budget for 2022. Got at least two. Okay, and then Barbara, I believe second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. Next item, number 7, the operator agreement extension through 2022.
Right. The original agreement stipulated that we could extend the contract with Berkshire for up to 5 times. So I presented to you just a simple contract extension of the original agreement. The final agreement will include the adopted budget that you just passed. And you can see the contract language. It includes the extension and then the original contract that was signed.
Okay, can I have a motion to accept the operator agreement extension through 2022?
So moved.
Craig, and then Samantha was second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. That's, I think, the end of our actionable items. Next on the agenda is number 8, the incident dashboard.
Right. So we received some good news from OCFS a while ago. They did an analysis of incidents reported across all juvenile facilities in the state. And Joe and his team and Luke, they had the lowest number of incidents reported in the state of any facility. So Joe, you want to just talk a little bit about that success?
Sure. We continue to have the lowest amount of restraints. Last year, we had a reduction from 134 restraints to this year, 19. November's report came out just yesterday, and we continue to have the lowest, although Erie beat us in JDs by, they had 2 where we had 3. I think that was the number. So we do continue comparatively to the others. You're looking at 8, 10 to 15 a month, and we're going in at maybe 2, 1 a month. So we continue to be the safest facility. That said, we want to open it up a little bit when we get the staffing to have more programming, but we want to build on that safety and that security where the staff feels safe, the youth feel safe. So we want to continue that. We've other facilities that have opened up programming, did it rather quickly and created some increase in staff injuries, comp claims, and youth assaults. We don't want to do that. We want to maintain that structure and do incentive-based activities. So that's kind of what we're looking at doing into 2022. We do have the assistant that started. She has a lot of wealth of experience. She helped OCFS get out of the DOJ lawsuit. She's great with systems and policy. And then we have the other assistant director, Mr. Robinson, left. We have his replacement coming on board, hopefully later this month, early January. And he's retiring. He was the director of Goshen Secure Detention. So got a good team we're putting together that are really expert in these areas. So we can really take a look at our protocols and policies and continue that safety, but now bring in, really we want to up our game in our training of staff, retention of staff. Our recruitment team has been doing a fantastic job. Now we want to be able to have them come into a really effective environment, and that's what we're working on right now. So I'm very optimistic about, into next year. We hope, I know we've had female intake closed. We've got 4 right now currently in training, 1 coming on board on the 30th, 6 in background, and we'll probably have 2 or 3 more going into background that I'm going to do offers. We are having some call outs, which, we're so close, razor thin margins. We have a call out or 2, we're under ratio. So we're doing programming based on the staff that show up each day, and we're trying to get over that hump. So I'm hoping early January we can revisit the female at the earliest and open up for female intake. We're looking better. We did have a supervisor leave. We've had another supervisor out on disability. So we have to fill those positions and make room for those. But, the outlook looks pretty good. I think listening to the other detention centers across the state, I think we're in a pretty good position to get over some of these challenges. Given the COVID and the workforce challenges, I think our outlook looks fairly favorable.
Great. Anything else to add, Luke?
No, I just think looking at our incident trends is really important. The state has looked at them closely, that we have, our incidents have gone down 70% in the past year, where most other facilities have seen an increase in percentage for incidents. We've gone down 70% in the month of October and November. We accounted for 1% of the total incidents in the state, while accounting for 9% of the youth. So we have been doing much better than other facilities as far as our safety. So I want to thank Joe and staff for doing a great job.
Great job, Joe. And do you think some of that has to do with your staff getting better with the new procedures for restraints and, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, the staff's been doing a great job. They're really working on the de-escalation, not engaging too soon, giving opportunities for the youth to comply. So that structure, they really worked well with that to avoid having to physically engage.
Great. So optimistic for female intake in January, but no guarantees, as we
No
move through
guarantees, but I hope so. I want to get that on board as soon as we can.
Yeah, I think we all do, certainly. It's just want to stress to the board that all the gains that have been made in recruitment have sort of been wiped away with the staff attrition that's been happening. And it's not unique to our facility. So I hope that we're over the hump now and we can build on, the foundation that you've laid there. But, still, we'll see what the future holds. Barbara, did you have a question?
Yes. Where have we been sending the girls who would have been in our facility?
I'm not exactly sure what the counties have been doing. Woodfield, now Onondaga is just opening up an expanded female unit. Down in Woodfield, they were ordered to close their trailers, so that has created a backlog statewide. There's a lot of need and calls for detention beds, both JDs and AOs. We've been I've asked one to leave, have to discharge one from a non-partner county to make room. We're getting requests from OCFS and other counties like daily that there's a males as well. There's a real need for added detention beds in the state.
I mean, the short answer is wherever there is a bed that's available,
Yeah.
it could be available. The system is so overwhelmed right now that there isn't even room for the male population.
We've used Woodfield.
And Bill has used tracking bracelets as recently as a couple weeks ago as an alternative to detention.
Hi, Mark. Yes, good point. So very often in our county, our AOs are heard late in the afternoon. And this always happens on a Friday. I get a call 6 or 7 o'clock at night, there's no beds. Happened last Friday, we get 3 AOs. So we had to bring staff in after hours, go to court and put GPS on 3 individuals. Like 7 or 8 o'clock at night on Friday.
So people are being forced to get real creative and, to deal with this crisis of capacity.
Yeah, and that is such a, OCFS will call and beg, as they do with every facility. And it's such a tough call. Okay, we can help you out. And then sure enough, we have 3 AOs, and it's like, we have our quarantine rooms, so our capacity isn't always at 24. We have to have those quarantine rooms, and it's such a tough call day to day. So, we try to do it as conservative as we can, but at times, we want to help out, but it is unpredictable. And then that's an unfortunate one. I know, Bill, like, wow, who could have predicted, of course, on the weekend. So that makes it a challenge to have to bump folks on a weekend.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Joe. Item number 9, Mark's going to update us on the capital project.
Sure. Since we last talked about it, Albany County has approved modification to the contract with SMRT to allow them to proceed with the rest of the design phase, which is good. I've had a conversation with the Dormitory Authority about financing, which they are working on. And we've submitted to OCFS the detailed cost estimates produced by SMRT. So they can review the proposed costs and hopefully make a determination, the percentage of the project that is 100% reimbursable. We had a conversation, I'm not sure if we talked about it at our last meeting or not, where OCFS sort of hedged and said, well, the whole project isn't 100% reimbursable, only the raise the age portion is. And so Albany County and I pushed back and, mentioned that we would not have touched the building were it not for raise the age. So we expect that, the project will be 100% reimbursable. So anyway, they need to, obviously cross all their T's and dot all their I's and run these costs up the flagpole. There's a lot of scrutiny being applied to this. I have none of what we're proposing in the capital project is a luxury. I think they all respond to the regulations as they've been promulgated by the regulating agencies. So that's where we stand. I think the next step is to submit formal revised raise the age plan numbers through the counties to the state, that being the mechanism that they can respond to and either say yay or nay, and then we'll go from there. Being that we are where we are, we're December 15th, our architects can likely get bid documents out in the street by like the March timeframe. And there is a possibility that we could begin a project in this construction season, but there are a lot of unknowns, including the financing mechanisms, the relationship between the counties for the cost share, the percentage of the project that's 100% reimbursable. I think the counties would be very hesitant to proceed unless there was some clarity about the percentage of the project that is reimbursable or not before putting a shovel in the ground. So that's where we stand on the capital project.
Any questions? Okay, next on our agenda is facility use.
You can see the facility use charts. You can see the overall trend of higher use in the AO category SSD facility than the SD facility. The lion's share of use in the facility are from our 4 counties, and obviously no female beds. Just my anecdotal observation of the daily roster, we're hovering about 19, 20 kids always.
Yes, you're full.
So for our facility, that is full right now because we have the B unit set aside for quarantine beds. That was the former female unit. So 20 really represents capacity at our facility at the moment.
Any discussion or questions? And next, number 11, facility operation agency report.
I think Joe's touched on a lot of the things going on in the facility, with our new hirings, our new leadership coming on. We are recruiting as heavily as we were before, and we're bringing in a lot of interviews. We've seen a lot more. We've seen more applicants in the past month than we've seen in the past 4 months. So that's a positive upward trend for us. We're working closely with our staff. We meet with them to make sure we're giving them what they need to feel safe in the facility and working with us. So we had to meet with our CEO and Joe and myself with the staff to continue to work with them. So to try to retain staff, so we're working very hard at that. And some of the new initiatives Joe has, like you said, we're putting in some new things to open up a little bit, make it a more therapeutic environment, but we're doing it very slowly. We're very lucky to have, be able to consult with a member of OCFS who did that with OCFS in the past and knows all the pitfalls. So we're taking it very slow and making it very deliberate. And we're giving staff buy-in as they see some of the successes. We had a lot of staff pushing back initially. They're concerned about security, but as they're seeing our incidents go down and our programming go up, they're seeing how that is actually beneficial to them as well as the youth. And so we're getting some buy-in now. So it's very positive moving forward. And Joe and his team are doing a great job with that. Anything you want to add, Joe?
No, thank you, Luke. That when just the tablet you mentioned, Albany County Jail uses them. A lot of jails use them. They're preloaded, especially if we last year when we had the COVID outbreak and we had to lock youth down. The DVD players just aren't really that secure. So they found that these tablets were very effective. SCOC actually had mentioned it in managing their population when they had to lock them in their rooms. So these will really give us some great options. They even have the app where you can actually use it for phone calls to family. I don't know that we'll use those functions, but they're meant for this population. So I'm really looking forward to that. I've been in conversations with the vendor, and hopefully we can get that out there next year. Especially because where we got to be cautious is when we have to lock youth into their rooms. We bring them out maybe 2-3 at a time to make sure it's safe. But if we can have these to give them into their rooms, they have a whole library, they have all types of entertainment they can use, and it's very secure. So I think that's real promising for us.
And just a couple updates on the building itself. I'd like to thank Albany County for coming out and fixing the problems in the driveway. We had a couple grates and drainage areas that were repaired by Albany County's DPW. We will have to make those repairs more permanent when the capital project proceeds. And there's also a leak in the basement underneath Dorm C, which we're actively investigating and seeing if we can get that resolved before the capital project or before it causes any major damage.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? And any other business? Samantha?
Mark, I was wondering if we've made any progress with the community college?
Joe and I had a chat with one of the vice presidents out there about the college credit program, and he did flip us both an email, I think yesterday or Monday.
Yeah.
Following up on, he talked with his administrators, and I think they have a plan of action. So we'll follow up with them on getting that set up. Thank you for making that connection.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, could I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Barbara, second? Second. Craig seconded. All in favor? Aye. Happy holidays, everybody. Our next meeting is January 19th.
See you next year.
Everyone.
Happy holidays.
Lucy. Okay, you're not staying on, right, Lucy?
No, I'm not. I have a doctor.